Hello, I'm Sheriff Bill Brown, bringing you this edition of the Sheriff's Roundup from the Sheriff's Office Communications Center, where in a few moments you'll hear all about the calls for service and how they're handled by our call takers and dispatchers. Also in this edition, we will tell you about a dramatic decline in overdose deaths in Santa Barbara County. We'll talk about the law enforcement torch run and a special torch that was presented to the Sheriff's Office by the Special Olympics. And we'll close out this episode by congratulating our recent retirees. Whenever you call 911 or our non-emergency lines, a lot happens in a very short amount of time. We're going to take you behind the scenes to show exactly how calls for service are received, prioritized, and how deputies are dispatched to respond. Now I'll turn it over to our Public Information Officer, Raquel Zick, to take you from the call to processing to dispatch and response and show you how our calls for service are answered.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
Calls for service begin here in the Sheriff's Office Communications Center, where dispatchers answer both 911 and non-emergency lines and gather information such as the location.
Okay, Jorge, what's going on there?
What happened and whether anyone is in immediate danger.
Okay, you got in a car crash? Is anybody hurt?
While both types of calls ring into the same center, they're not treated the same. Emergency 911 calls are always prioritized and answered first. Those are calls where someone may be in immediate danger. Our call center handles approximately 550 calls per day, with about 150 of those calls coming in on 911. We'll take a look at 911 calls in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at non-emergency calls, which make up a bulk of the calls that our dispatchers handle every day.
County Dispatch.
When you call a non-emergency line, a trained call taker will gather information and determine what kind of help is needed. But not every call becomes a call for service requiring a deputy response. In many cases, dispatchers are able to assist the caller right then and there by connecting or referring them to the appropriate resource. That can include services like the Crisis Hotline, Animal Services, or Legal Aid Foundation. They may also direct callers to the Sheriff's Civil Bureau or partner agencies that are better suited to handle the situation. Depending on the situation, callers may be referred to allied agencies such as state parks or California Highway Patrol.
Okay, stay on the phone with me. I'm going to transfer you over to CHP, okay? Hold on.
For issues that fall outside of law enforcement, dispatchers may also direct callers to city services like parking enforcement or code enforcement. Calls for a medical or fire response are transferred to the Regional Fire Communications Center. This process helps ensure that every caller gets connected to the right resource while keeping deputies available for situations that require an immediate law enforcement response.
3558, go ahead.
Security check for a suspicious subject seen attempting to break into apartment 18.
3558, copy. I'll be en route.
And when a situation does require a deputy, that's when the call is entered for service and prioritized for dispatch. Every call for service requires two key pieces of information to get started: a location and a call type.
Our job is to understand what is happening and to quickly get a response to that location.
Not all calls are the same. Dispatchers prioritize calls based on urgency and potential risk. The highest priority calls are crimes against persons. These are calls where a person is in danger or causing danger to another and include incidents like assaults, domestic violence, or robberies in progress. Situations where someone's safety may be immediately at risk. These calls are the highest priority for dispatch. Next are property crimes. This can include things like burglaries or vehicle thefts. These are serious incidents and are treated as such, but they typically do not involve an immediate threat to somebody's life. Finally, there are lower priority calls, often referred to as report calls or public assist. These might involve something that already happened where documentation or follow-up is needed. While these calls are still important, they may be handled after higher priority calls are cleared. Once a call is prioritized, dispatchers assign deputies based on availability, proximity, and the nature of the call. For in-progress incidents, those happening right now, the call is generally assigned to the closest available unit. Our computer-aided dispatch system helps with that by using auto vehicle locators or AVLs, which show where deputies are in real time. For report calls, deputies are typically assigned based on their beat or the area they're responsible for during their shift. That helps ensure consistent coverage across the county. That said, deputies regularly assist one another to balance workload and make sure calls are handled as efficiently as possible. Deputies receive call details through both radio communications and their in-car computers, and that information can be updated in real time as new details come in. Depending on the nature of the call, dispatchers may also assign specialized units with additional training to support the response. For calls involving mental health or behavioral crises, a crisis intervention team may be deployed. These teams pair a deputy with a trained mental health clinician. This approach allows for an informed, compassionate response, focus on de-escalation, connecting individuals with services, and reducing the need for enforcement when appropriate. For traffic-related incidents, specialized traffic units are often assigned. These deputies are frequently on motorcycles, allowing them to respond quickly and maneuver through traffic. They have advanced training in areas like traffic collision investigation and impaired driving enforcement, helping ensure a thorough investigation and roadway safety. Canine units may also be called in to assist. These highly trained teams can support a wide range of operations, including suspect tracking, narcotics detection, and explosive detection. By matching the right resource to the right situation, the Sheriff's Office is able to deliver a more effective and tailored response to the community's needs. You may sometimes see more than one deputy responding to a call. That's intentional, and it's about safety. Sending multiple units helps ensure the safety of everyone involved, the public, victims, and deputies. Having backup helps reduce risk in what are often unpredictable situations. It also allows deputies to divide responsibilities so one can focus on victim care while another manages a suspect. And overall, having multiple units on scene helps improve coordination, maintain control, and often leads to a faster, safer resolution.
Having more units there means we can handle situations more safely and effectively.
Dispatchers are constantly monitoring incoming calls, and if a higher priority incident comes in, resources may be reassigned in real time. That's why you may see a delay in lower priority calls. Resources are diverted to urgent calls first.
Thank you, Raquel. From the moment a call comes in to the time a deputy arrives on scene, there's a coordinated effort happening behind the scenes that makes sure that the right response is delivered at the right time. And remember, if you can call, call. If you can't call, you can always text 911. Next, we want to take a moment to highlight some very encouraging news in the fight against drug overdose deaths here in Santa Barbara County. Santa Barbara County is seeing a significant decline in overdose deaths, with new data showing significant progress over the past 2 years. From 2023 to 2024, overdose deaths in Santa Barbara County dropped from 158 to 96, a 40% decrease, significantly outpacing the national decline of 25% during the same period. That downward trend continued into 2025, with 93 overdose deaths recorded. Together, these statistics represent 65 fewer lives lost compared to 2023. The most significant decline has been in fentanyl-related overdoses. Fentanyl overdose deaths dropped from 111 in 2023 to 59 in 2024, and continued downward to 46 in 2025. Methamphetamine-related overdose deaths also declined substantially, and overdose deaths among people experiencing homelessness dropped by more than 60% during that same period. These numbers represent real progress, but more importantly, they represent lives saved. The progress that we are seeing is the result of a coordinated effort across our community, including prevention and education efforts, increased treatment and recovery services, harm reduction programs like Narcan distribution, and strong enforcement efforts targeting the trafficking of potentially lethal drugs. These efforts have significantly disrupted the supply of dangerous drugs entering our communities. Since mid-2024, Sheriff's Office investigators have seized more than 634,000 doses of fentanyl, 14,000 fentanyl pills, 7.3 million doses of methamphetamine, and more than 1.3 million doses of cocaine. Investigators have also seized 60 firearms and more than $221,000 in cash connected to illicit drug sales. Each counterfeit pill or dose of powder seized represents a potentially deadly overdose averted, as many contain unpredictable combinations of substances. Despite this progress, the Sheriff's Office and community partners continue working to save even more lives by expanding access to treatment, encouraging recovery, and distributing harm reduction resources. Naloxone, also known as Narcan, remains widely available throughout Santa Barbara County. It's free of charge and available at sheriff's stations, both county jails, and through community partners like UCSB and the Pacific Pride Foundation. Medication-assisted treatment programs within the Santa Barbara County jail system and throughout the community have also expanded greatly, helping connect people struggling with addiction to long-term recovery support. While we are strongly encouraged by these results, this work is far from over. Addiction continues to impact families throughout our county and across the socioeconomic spectrum. We remain committed to a balanced approach to fighting addiction that includes prevention, treatment, education, harm reduction, and enforcement efforts, all combining to keep Santa Barbara County safe. Community partnerships are an important part of public safety, and one such partnership that holds special meaning for law enforcement agencies across the country is our relationship with Special Olympics. Each year, members of the Sheriff's Office proudly participate in the Law Enforcement Torch Run, an event that helps raise awareness and support for athletes with intellectual disabilities throughout our county. Recently, the Sheriff's Office was honored to receive a very special presentation from the Special Olympics of Southern California, a commemorative torch recognizing the funds we raised for this very special cause. I'll turn it over now to Goretti Ortiz, Director of Development for Special Olympics Southern California, who will tell you more about the significance of this torch and what this partnership means to the athletes and the families served by Special Olympics.
This year, the sheriff was awarded the Flame of Hope in recognition of their stellar fundraising in 2025, which raised over $5,000 for our athletes. The Sheriff's Department helps us build relationships with all law enforcement agencies in Santa Barbara County, and we are very grateful to have Sheriff Brown and Lieutenant Butch Arnaldi on our side, helping us raise awareness along with raising funds that make it possible for us to provide the services that our athletes need.
Thank you, Goretti, for your partnership, and a special thanks to Lieutenant Butch Arnaldi for spearheading this partnership on behalf of the Sheriff's Office for an incredible 43 years. As we close out this edition of the Sheriff's Roundup, we also want to take a moment to recognize some members of our Sheriff's Office family who have retired and are beginning new chapters in their lives. In the first 3 months of this year, we've said goodbye to 19 employees whose combined experience represents more than 400 years of service to the people of Santa Barbara County. Every one of them had a career filled with sacrifice, professionalism, and dedication to public service. Whether they worked in patrol, custody investigations, communications, in professional support staff positions, or in specialized assignments, every single one of these people helped shape this organization and contributed to the safety and well-being of our community. In law enforcement and public safety, experience matters. The knowledge gained over years and often decades of service cannot be replaced overnight. These employees leave behind not only impressive careers, but also lasting impacts on the coworkers they mentored and the communities they served. On behalf of the entire Sheriff's Office, I thank each of our retirees for their service, and I wish them and their families a very healthy, happy, and well-earned retirement. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Sheriff's Roundup. Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting us as we protect and serve our community.